Well, happy Monday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, October 20th, 2025. I hope your week is off to a great start, and thank you so much for joining us here on a Monday evening. Always a great way to get our week started, talking about all the cool things that there are going on here in the greater Lafayette area, fun things to do, development news. We're going to do some fun house tours. So thank you as always for joining us. As you log in, let me know where you're watching from. It's always neat to see where our audience is watching from. Talked to a watcher just this afternoon who was down in Florida. Told him I was a little bit jealous. I wish I was down in Florida. We have the start of fall here. No doubt it is cool. It is breezy. Don't get me wrong. Fall's nice, but, the moment the weather turns, I start to miss summer. But always fun to see where people are watching from. If you're watching in Florida, welcome, or Texas, California, New Mexico, Washington, or, good old Indiana. Fahad's watching from Lafayette. Welcome, good sir. Glad you're all here. We're going to dive right in. Last week was a pretty crowded show because it had been a couple of weeks. Had some family time away, had some other things come up that were keeping me away. So 2 weeks in a row we have a show, we have a stream. So something of starting a trend here. But cool things continue to develop around here. And first off, I'm going to lead off with more news on data centers, or data centers, depending on how you want to pronounce that. If you're a Star Trek fan, you'll understand the reference. The Tippecanoe County Area Plan Commission has okayed a new zoning code for large data centers. And this is a new zoning definition for what a data center is, because indeed our area plan didn't have a definition for data centers, because when the zoning rules were written, this wasn't really something that really existed the way that it was. So they have written a new zoning requirement for data centers, which basically makes it really difficult to implement one, but it's a rule for a year. It's got a built-in sunset clause. And the reason behind this is APC wants to spend the next year going through and really looking at the issue and defining like where we need to be, because you got to balance the needs of the community. And if you've been paying attention at all to the data center debates going on here in Indiana, and indeed nationwide, they are power hungry and water hungry. Power, of course, to run things, and water to keep things cool. But the flip side of that is you're all watching me on YouTube. YouTube is really just a whole bunch of data centers just out there sort of things. So, our modern world with our iPhones and smartphones and computers and YouTube and Facebook and all of the things just don't exist without data centers. And then, of course, there are the rights of landowners, and we pride ourselves on the American way of you own your little piece of land and you can do with it as you please. So there's a little bit of the libertarian view of government should just get out of the way and let people do what they want, but you got to balance that with neighbors and resources that are needed to support our community. So anyway, the Area Plan Commission is going to spend the next year really kind of studying how best to do this longer term. But if any development pops up in the next year, they'll have a narrow path that these data centers have to go down in order to get approval. What it comes down to is large data centers, which is what we're talking about here, are going to only be in, I believe, I-2 zoning. And there's a really limited amount of land in the county that is currently zoned I-2. So that will provide some relief in the next year while they study it. But the Area Plan Commission is an advisory council to the local municipal and executive authorities of the county and the cities. So next up, the city councils and the Tippecanoe commissioners and the town boards have to approve it. So The Lafayette City Council meets on November 3rd at 6 p.m. at City Hall on 6th Street. The Tippecanoe County Commissioners meet on November 3rd at 10 a.m. in the morning at the County Office Building on 3rd Street. The West Lafayette City Council also meets on November 3rd, very, very busy day, at 6:30 p.m. at Marjoram City Hall in West Lafayette. So those three boards will consider this in just about 2 weeks from now. The Dayton, Battleground, and Clarks Hill town boards also will weigh in. I don't think there'll be any surprise here. I think they'll all approve this and make it part of their zoning guidance for the next year, while APC gets an answer together for what the longer term is going to look like for data centers here in Tippecanoe County. So there you go. Have you subscribed to the Lafayette Reel yet? If you're here watching At Lafayette Live on Monday, hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out on YouTube, helps people see our content. So if you're here enjoying it, help other people enjoying it by hitting that subscribe button. Continuing on with development news here in the area, you've heard me preach many, many times about the lack of homes here in the Lafayette area. And that continues to be a problem. Our population continues to expand. People are having babies. People are moving in. Our economic base continues to develop and grow. New companies coming to town. SK Hynix amongst them, perhaps most likely coming to town, it would seem. GE Aviation, Rolls-Royce Aviation, Nanshan Aluminum, just a few of the most recent ones to come to town, means that we need more and more homes, and there's just not enough of those around here. Well, at the last Area Plan Commission meeting, Lennar Homes brought forth a proposal for a new development down on the south side. This is at the corner of Concord and 430 South. Well, kind of Concord and 450 South to 430 South. They're going to bring 111 homes across 32 acres. This, I think, is overall a good thing because they are bringing 111 homes into a combination of R1, which is regular residential zoning, and R1B, which is residential, slightly smaller lots. Why do I think that this is a good thing? And not everybody in the community thinks that it is, but the reason that I think that it is a good thing is a couple of different interrelated issues here. Housing prices continue to rise. There's just no doubt about that. If you're a homeowner, that means the value of your home is going up. Great job. You've invested for the future. But if you're not yet a homeowner, the barrier to entry is rising and rising and rising. Smaller homes on smaller lots mean that we can help mitigate the price of homes. Is it a panacea that's going to magically fix everything? No, absolutely not. Definitely not. But it helps. Related to that is the fact that not everybody wants a giant lot. Not everybody wants an acre, 3 acres, 5 acres, 3/4 of an acre. Some people just want a small home, a small lot. They don't want to worry about mowing a whole lot of grass. So I think overall this is a good thing. Some of the push against it is density, number of people, and the amount of traffic that's going to drive. I understand where folks are coming from on that. I can't say that I agree with all of it. People got to live somewhere. And our county commissioners and the Lafayette City Council were doing a pretty good job of managing the future of traffic. Is it perfect today? No, I'm not saying that at all. And, you know, if you want to jump down in the comments and say, Jeff, you're an idiot, traffic here in Lafayette is terrible, I won't debate you on that. I've been out on 26 at rush hour where 26 and 65 come together, and it's absolutely terrible. But, you know, we are putting plans in place for the future. Hopefully it will eventually get better. But regardless, people got to have places to live. But what is truly interesting about this development is this is the latest in the spate of new developers coming to town. Up until the last, I would say, year or so, development here in the greater Lafayette area has been a rather insular, even parochial kind of thing, with a handful of local companies really driving development. This new development that's coming to the corner of Concord and 430 South is being built by Lennar Homes. They are the #2 builder of homes by volume in the country. Now, some good things come along with that, and no doubt some bad things come along with that. Being able to talk to somebody in your community who lives in your community who owns the company, it sounds like might be a better thing than talking to somebody at a national company who perhaps doesn't understand our local community as much. The flip side of that is development hasn't been able to keep up here in the greater Lafayette area. Our developers just have not had the ability to keep up. And I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not pointing my fingers at the developers. There's a lot of things at play here. There is, you know, we're talking about material costs. We're talking about labor. We're talking about regulation. We're talking about a whole lot of things. But more people coming to the table, I think overall is a good thing. Are there going to be speed bumps along the way? Yes, absolutely. But let's take a look at this new neighborhood that's coming. So I think I want this button. Yeah. So here we go. Here is 430 South. Here is Concord. So we'll have 44 of the regular R1 lots. That's the green lots here. And 67 of the R1B lots, the 53-foot wide lots. It's only a difference of 8 feet wide. Not gigantic differences there. So that's what's coming. 111 new homes coming to the south side of Lafayette. That has been approved by the Area Plan Commission and will go before the county commissioners on November 3rd. One of the county commissioners sits on the APC. The Area Plan Commission is made up of representatives from the local executive councils and boards that make up our county. And he's basically said that he thinks it's a good idea, and therefore I would expect that the county commissioners will approve this. Let me know what you think down in the chat or in the comments. Lennar, nation's #2 builder by volume, coming to Lafayette, bringing 111 homes. Is a test balloon. Will we see more? I think so. This is at least the second and maybe third. The first and second were kind of more regional developers coming to the area. This is a national developer coming to the area. And if you want to stay up to date on this development and related developments, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss a minute of all of the videos here that we put out on Lafayette Real. Moving on to a controversial topic. If you're watching in here in the greater Lafayette area, when I say the following words, you probably elicits a reaction from you. SK Hynix. Am I right? Did that elicit a reaction? I'm not saying if it's a good or bad reaction. Some of it might be positive, some of it might be negative. If you don't know, SK Hynix is a major South Korean manufacturer of chips, computer chips that are used in the AI field. NVIDIA is one of their largest customers, and they're bringing a chip fab here to West Lafayette. It's continuing to go through the approval process. It's quite controversial. We got some neighbors that are really, really against it, but the news today is that Site A, the original site that SK Hynix was going to go on, has been rezoned from I-3 industrial to business. So this is Purdue Research Foundation in West Lafayette said that they were going to do this to help mitigate the location on Site B of the I-3 zoning needed for the SK Hynix chip fab, and they have followed through with it. Now, does that mitigate people's concerns? I seriously doubt it, but they did follow through on something they said that they were going to do. Again, the West Lafayette City Council have to give final approval to this down zone. That's going to happen a couple of weeks from now on November 3rd. I expect that to happen. And if you're interested in home here in the Lafayette area, if SK Hynix bothers you and you want to sell, I'm not joking. If SK Hynix interests you and you want to work there and you want to be close by, either way, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and let's work together on buying or selling your home here in Lafayette, West Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, Greater Lafayette. I'd love to work with you. Another bit of development news, lots of development news going on here in the Lafayette area lately. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. It seemed like last year there was a little bit of a dearth where we'd get a whole bunch and then it'd go quiet. This year just seems to like come and come and come and come and just doesn't stop. It'll probably cool off here in the coming months as we get into winter. It's just kind of the nature of the world. The West Lafayette Country Club closed and has been for sale. A developer wants to redevelop it into housing. That decision before the Area Plan Commission has been delayed by another month by the developer. It was supposed to go, it was on the schedule to go before the Area Plan Commission this last month in October, but the developer asked to delay until November. So more to come on that. Again, a controversial development, which development in Lafayette, in Greater Lafayette and West Lafayette isn't controversial these days. There's some concern, again, about the density. They're talking about doing some R1B in there as well. There's some concern about that being a FEMA floodplain, which is an understandable concern. We'll go more in depth when that comes forward and if they try to, when they try to seek approval on that. We'll go through the maps and talk about that in detail. But that will be coming up in November at the earliest. So that's a roundup of all of the development, not all of the development news, but a lot of the development news going on here in the Greater Lafayette area. There's some things that I didn't touch on that are going to come before Lafayette and West Lafayette City Councils in the coming meeting that we'll talk about after they say yes or no. Some things that have gone through APC, some things that are bubbling away, going through all of the parameters that they have to meet to get approvals that are going to affect us here in the area. But right now we're just kind of waiting on some of those. So more to come on that. We're going to take a tour this week of 3 homes that are in the 9th Street corridor. So you might know, if you're from the Greater Lafayette area, that 9th Street Hill is this beautiful neighborhood on the hill. It's in the name of 9th Street, climbing up out of downtown. There's some beautiful, beautiful older homes there, some that have been taken care of, some that need some love. These are not all on the hill. These all kind of stretch between downtown and a little further up. So they're not all on the hill. So that's why I'm saying on the 9th Street corridor. But thought we would take a tour of 3 of them because I thought that they were interesting. And we're going to begin with 900 King Street in Lafayette. Going to move some windows around here. Thanks for your patience. I'm going to start with 900 King Street in Lafayette. It's, like I said, this one's this one's on King Street, but it actually abuts 9th Street on the other side. We can take a look at the map. I'll hit the right button here. put it on the map. Goodness. Okay. So King Street and 9th Street. So it's right, the address is King Street, but it has frontage on 9th Street as well. And this is what I was saying. This is the 9th Street hill kind of climbing up from downtown to Kossuth Street. And we get to the Highland Park neighborhood. So it's kind of right on the edge of the Highland Park neighborhood there. So, but let's take a tour. This is an interesting home. We're going to take a tour of 900 King Street in Lafayette on the 9th Street corridor, just a little south of the 9th Street Hill, a little south of Highland Park. It is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,626 square feet on 0.3 acres in Lafayette. And I just absolutely love this slate stone finish on the outside. You have the below grade garage, which I think is really nice. One of my big beefs about modern homes a lot is like how we stick the garage out on the front, and it's like, welcome to my garage. So I like the old below grade garage. We've got the covered porch here, King Street and 9th Street. You can kind of see the country club diagonal from the country club here, from the Lafayette Country Club. There's the aerial view, so the home right here, country club, directly diagonal from it. So if you want to go golfing, you can walk to the country club. But it's not on the course, so you don't have to worry about golf balls breaking your windows. Again, the slate stone, absolutely beautiful. Got tile floor in the foyer as you walk in. Got the crown molding. It's a great combination of old and new. The home was built in 1935, but you really wouldn't know it by looking at the home. They've just done such a great job of updating it. Got that cozy living room with the paneled ceiling and the fireplace, hardwood floors, and actual hardwood, not just laminate. A dining room that feels like a dining room but doesn't feel stuffy at the same time, if that kind of makes sense to you. There it is without the virtual staging, and you can see we actually have the outlet down in the floor here. That's super handy to have. Power your centerpieces. Got the eat-in kitchen with the nice, lovely square island. In-wall oven, warmer, and microwave. You know, it's got the induction stovetop. I'm not a giant fan of that, but you know, then again, I don't cook a whole lot. But lovely. I enjoy the stained glass over the oven. So I think that's a really nice kitchen. If you love an old school library, this house is for you. I mean, what more do you need to say? The oak built-ins, just absolutely beautiful. You have the reading bench in the window. It's, again, classic, but really doesn't strike me as stuffy. Maybe it strikes you as stuffy, but it doesn't strike me that way. I would fill this place with books and then need more shelves on top of that. Then we start moving into the bedrooms, into the slightly less interesting sections. Landing up at the top with the metal banisters. Again, bedrooms. Yep, they're bedrooms. The primary suite bathroom. Got the soaking garden tub there. Hardwood floors in the bedrooms as well. So you can carry that through. Lots and lots and lots of hardwood in this. And then we go downstairs and have the actual stone floors in the living area downstairs. Laundry room, plenty of room to do your washing. Yes, yes, yes. This half bath is a little out of character with the rest of this house, but basement. It is what it is. But again, the beautiful slate, the back porch slash basketball court. And we're wrapping it up with some aerial views and the lovely landscaping. So again, this was a tour of 900 King Street, which is on the intersection of King and 9th Street, diagonal from the Lafayette Country Club, just up the street from Highland Park and the 9th Street Hill neighborhood. 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,626 square feet on 0.3 acres, currently listed for $749,000. And if you'd like to go check this one out, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let me know, and let's go check it out together. Enjoy that one? I thought that was a pretty cool one. I think of the 3 that we're going to look at today, that one might be my favorite. We'll see how I feel after we look at all of them again. But we're going to continue our tour of homes along the 9th Street corridor, and this one's a little more on the 9th Street Hill. So, just moving windows around here. We're going to look at this one at 207 South 9th Street. And before we dig into the details on that, let's check out the map. Like I said, this one is on the hill. Right here. This is South Street and Columbia Street. This is 26th through the middle of town. The 9th Street Hill goes roughly from here at South Street up to about Kossuth. So right in the middle of the hill. I mean, you'll see from the pictures as we take the tour exactly where this one is located. But this one, built 1898, doesn't feel like it. Well taken care of. Let's take a tour. 207 South 9th Street in Lafayette on the 9th Street Hill. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,284 square feet on half an acre, 0.54 square feet. Half an acre in the middle of town. And look at that beautiful half an acre. Got our obligatory twilight shot. I'm not a giant fan of those, but I do understand. Got the slate tile entryway. Look at the beautiful original woodwork to the home. Got the wood archway around the door. You got the wood floor in the living room. You got the wood banisters going up the stair. You got the original looking ceilings. Just absolutely beautiful. Maintains its character. Feels like a home of a period while not feeling dated. That's a hard thing to do. Not everybody gets that right. And I'm not saying everything is perfect, but large main floor living spaces, laundry room on the main floor, kitchen with a large eat at island. Again, kitchen that has been updated. Cabinets a little on the old side. Not sure that they've been updated, but lots of light, lots of windows in the living room. As we move further into the house, you feel a little more of the Victorian charm of the home, where, how do you balance that originalness versus updating? And as we move upstairs, you can see that there's still some love that needs to be given to the home, and that's going to, explain a little bit of the price. We got a rug that's covering a floor that needs a little bit of work. A parquet wood floor was put in here, I would guess, in the 1950s or 60s in place of the original wood floor. The bathroom is nice and has had some amount of updating at some point. Feels a little dated, but not original to the home. And again, like the parquet floor is not terrible, but I wouldn't call it period either. Got our craft room, more bathrooms. This has a primary suite and an in-law suite. This is one of those updated spaces, and we see this quite often in these big Victorians. The upstairs loft area, the third floor space that a lot of times was just like unfinished attic. Somebody will come along at some point and refinish this and turn it into actual usable space. And this is, I think, a great example of that. Perhaps not so much the glass block down at the end. That feels a little bit dated, but once upon a time it was modern and contemporary. But lots of room for office, workshop, theater. This is that little upstairs suite where you have enough kitchen up there that you don't have to come all the way down, but is definitely up at the top of the stairs. So I'm not quite sure I would call it an in-law suite. This is more along primary that's way up the stairs, and this bathroom has been updated. Kind of every time I see it, sort of reminds me of the neighbor's house from Christmas Vacation. I'm sorry, but it does. We move out to the backyard, and remember, half an acre. And, if you've ever seen 9th Street Hill, this is what the backyards look like. You have these beautiful paths that go down the back side of the hill, these long lots that start at 9th Street and go towards the east. Got a 3-car garage. So here's the layout. So let's take a minute and look at this. So you come in the foyer, and you got living and dining and kitchen, and then the sunroom off the back. You go up the stairs, and you arrive where there are 3 bedrooms and the primary. Now, you move upstairs again, and this is that large space that we saw upstairs that is finished off as a family room with a kitchen and a bath. You could use this as another suite instead of a family room. Again, you're up on the 3rd floor. There's some stairs involved there. And then, of course, down in the basement, we got utility down there. So that is 207 South 9th Street in Lafayette on 9th Street Hill. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,284 square feet on 0.54 acres, so half an acre lot in the middle of Lafayette, currently listed at $441,900. If you would like to go tour this one, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, let me know, and let's go see it together. And then we're going to move on to our last home of the evening in our tour of the 9th Street corridor. And this one is, again, a little further up. This is, I believe, technically in the Highland Park neighborhood, but it's actually on Kossuth. This is 701 Kossuth Street. And this is, again, along the 9th Street corridor. It's not on 9th Street. It is on Kossuth, but it is kind of adjacent to that corridor, so I'm stretching a little bit here as far as location. But let's look at it on the map, and you can see for yourselves. So here it is. This is the Highland Park neighborhood. I mean, you can tell, here's Highland Avenue, here's the Teardrop Shawnee Avenue. This is Highland Park in here. It's in Highland Park, but it faces Kossuth, which is a slightly busier street. The Kossuth west of 9th is slightly less busy than Kossuth east of 9th Street, but it is not in the neighborhood. It is 3-4 lots to the west of 9th Street. So it's not exactly on 9th Street, but it's close enough to the corridor that I thought it was worthy of inclusion tonight. So we're going to look at 701 Kossuth Street in Lafayette. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 4,566 square feet, pretty big, on a quarter acre, 0.27 acres. So this is a stone stucco exterior. It is in the Highland Park neighborhood. It is on the southernmost extent of the Highland Park neighborhood. It is one of the homes with more character in Lafayette. It is not typical. You're not going to find this style many other places in Lafayette. You got the gated drive, well, the gated backyard, really, I guess, not so much drive. But we move inside and we see that there's so much light in here. The stucco style is kind of indicative of that. Got the sunroom in the back here. We're moving into the living room with the blonde hardwood floors. And continuing on, we got the fireplace. Lots of living spaces in these older, larger homes. I mean, when we were talking about 4,000 plus square feet, 4,500 square feet, you're going to have living spaces. You got that wide stairway going up. It's not a galley style kitchen, but it's galley adjacent. I mean, you got the oven in the wall and the fridge on the other side, but all of the counters are along one wall. That's the definition of galley style, really. So all of your work surfaces are along one surface. So for this large house, fairly small kitchen, but it's the size that it needs to be, I guess, is the best way to put that. Moving into the spacious dining rooms, so more room to eat, less room to prep. Got some vinyl plank flooring in there. You got the downstairs half bath with the radiator. Radiator's good and bad at the same time. I personally love radiators. Not everybody does. We move into the primary. Again, many radiators, but look at the giant primary. I mean, that bed is just swallowed up by that room. Just tons and tons of space to be had there. A very much updated bathroom with the garden soaking tub and the shower with glass walls. So if you want everybody to watch you showering, there you go. Double basin sinks, rather. Then we start moving into the secondary bedrooms and some of the less interesting things. You can see there's a little bit of Jack and Jill bedroom going on there. Hardwood floors up on the second floor, some of which have been covered by carpet over the years. This is a room that's been updated, gives the feel of a winery / barn. You got the barn doors, you got the stone, you got the brickwork, and the wine rack here. Lots and lots of radiators in this house. I particularly like floorboard hydronic better than I like radiators. I think it distributes more evenly throughout the room. But, a house that was built in 1920. I mean, it's period. Got the lovely built-ins in this office space. This is my favorite room of the entire house. You got the enclosed porch with the fireplace and all the windows and screens. Just absolutely beautiful. I'd spend a lot of time out there. Moving out to the back porch with the retractable awning. There you can see the outside of that covered porch isn't right. It's got the outdoor kitchen here. So if you want to entertain, if you want to really grill, you can. You have the old carriage house style two-car garage, and they're a little bit closer shot of the outdoor kitchen. Certainly a nice amenity, not usable so much out in the cold. Let me see a little more. So just to show you the floor plan on this one, so you come in on into the foyer, into the sunroom that we looked at here, and then living, dining, breakfast nook. You can kind of see how all these rooms run in together. Again, house of the period. Screened porch here in the back. Then up on the second floor, you have the 3 bedrooms with the Jack and Jill bath. One of the extra bedroom has just a half bath attached. And then the primary suite that was just absolutely gigantic. So one bedroom doesn't have access to a bathroom without going through somebody else's bedroom. It's a choice for a shower, I should say. And then downstairs in the basement, we have the laundry room and hall and family room. So lots and lots of space here in this one as we conclude our tour of the 9th Street corridor. This is 701 Castou Street in Lafayette. It's the south end of the Highland Park neighborhood. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 4,566 square feet on a quarter acre, 0.27 acres, currently listed at $785,000. And if you would like to take a tour of 701 Castou Street, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's go check out this beautiful 4,500 square foot home together. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you're here watching, it would mean a whole lot to me if you just hit that button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoyed joining us every week here on At Lafayette Live and how much you enjoy all of our content on the Lafayette Reel. And that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday evening, and we will see you again next Monday at 7 o'clock on At Lafayette Live. Have a great week, everybody.